caveats. There was something about it I didn't like, and it's that Tommy was there. You see, in the game, I didn't mean to drop like a Darman on you there with what you see, but in the game, Tommy was with Joel. Whereas in the show, Tommy is now at Jackson defending it from these infected, and he's badass there. You know, I think it's really cool, and it gets to showcase, like, no, he is also like an extreme elite, you know, ass clapper. That's great, but since Tommy is no longer with Joel when Abby is confronting him, we no longer have that extremely sad scene of Tommy witnessing Joel get hit with a shotgun, and he immediately recognizes what's about to happen, and it freaks out, and then he gets Joel's death, but he knows. And I really feel like that made that scene even more sad, because not only did Ellie witness it, but Tommy was there too. And in the show, Tommy is not there. Instead, it's Dina that she's there. And I just don't think that hits his heart, because in the show, Dina...
Pick your hero. Or villain. I'm not judging.
Like, she still sees it as dark, knows it's...
Freedom's a not.
Be wary. No timeline exists where Magneto yields.
Now, the execution itself plays out pretty similar to the
Alas, we can no longer hide from the dangers that lie beyond our shores.
Some of them I really think were a downgrade.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Badass line about just go ahead and say whatever speech you rehearsed.
Your ankhs are maddening.
Not my onks. Conscious.
Even so, maddening.
If I'm on your side, isn't that what you...
Be wary.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Time to clear the dance floor. By force.
So they change how that plays out here to a certain extent. So like she's punching Joel a ton of times, but since she doesn't...
Enemy located.
Much better.
Help, please. Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now. The mission area is yours. Double KO.
Insolent fool. You are under my protection.
They look like they mean business.
Shields up. Disappear.
Your sacrifice, Captain.
Dina calls out to Joel, wondering where he is. She just calls out Joel, and Joel responds.
You've captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
Dina didn't know he was with anyone. She didn't know where he was. She was calling out to try and look for him.
You're ready for action!
Control lost.
But since Abby was there, which Dina was not previously,
Relay deployed! It ain't cheap!
it was a really good episode of considered a good creative.
You're welcome!
Assault cannon!
On the move again. I'm good to go.
That's much better.
My back! I'll catch you up!
Us against the world.
Judge! Jury! Executioner!
This is real firepower!
It was an honor to
You're
serve
welcome!
alongside you. A little help, please.
See?
I'll patch you up.
Your team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
My good deed. You're ready for action.
Disappear!
This is a nice spot.
I am strength.
Guns aren't toys, Frank. Especially ones that
Watch the
big.
other Frank. Ready for a boost? You're welcome. Trouble has arrived. That fucking hurt.
Shields up!
See? I'm fucking helpful.
Fury's over!
Armed and dangerous. Chunked his power.
I'm going to help.
Become dingy.
Feeling fantastic.
Anyway, that's about it.
See? I'm
Donald
fucking
Trump,
helpful.
along with Elon Musk, have created a new government agency called NODE.
This place is worth a good look.
The result is just an older sibling giving a younger sibling.
We'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
And their first order of business
This is real firepower. See? I'm fucking helpful.
That's a WM. My successes make you proud.
You're ready for action. Crap. They destroyed the turret. Now I can't steal it. That must be really humiliating.
I've been interested in for a very long time. And now that recently USAID has been in the news, I figured it was a perfect time to finally talk about it. All the mainstream liberal coverage I've seen of this has basically been late-night talk show hosts crying fake tears about it being dismantled, and all the mainstream Republican coverage
Just say
has
it.
just been about
There's nothing I
overthrowing
can't fix.
USAID. But I promise you, it is more than that. A lot. If you're not a very political person and you only come here to consume the Reddit gender war slop, you should
30
still stick
seconds
around
before you
for this
attack.
because
Get ready.
this gets juicy. And remember, even if you're not interested in politics,
Hey, I like your
politics
firearms.
is interested in you.
Never thought I'd
Trust
find
me, I
someone with the same
understand
taste on this
people
backward
aren't
planet.
It's confusing,
Yeah.
it's stressful,
What do
it's
you
a lot
got
to
in the
keep up with. I
trash
feel like 500 things
Let's
happen every
see.
single day.
Ion turret,
Eventually, I
photon
will
reaction
that.
chain
That's right,
gun,
ladies and gentlemen,
mini
this
black
video is
hole.
sponsored
War
by
journal
USA.
entry.
Just kidding. This video is sponsored
The battle
by
starts in
Ground
5,
News. Let's go through the
4,
shout out, and then we'll
3,
jump back into the
2,
shall we?
1.
Ground News is a
All you need
website
to do
and
is
app
capture the
that
mission
provides a
area.
fun and
Got it?
transparent way to read the news all across
The occult threats to this world
from
are
left,
many,
right,
and they
center.
grow stronger.
Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown of political bias that helps you understand the full story and make sure you're getting both sides. One of my favorite features of Ground News has to be the blind spot feature. It shows you news stories that have been covered by only one side.
I'll patch you up.
I am strengthened for battle.
Please.
About how Elon Musk apparently
That's much better.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
right away.
Hey up! You're ready for action.
I have forced the Punisher into the open again.
I'll do my best to carry on.
Relay deployed. It ain't cheap. Who needs a power up?
For example, this right-wing headline about
You're welcome.
Capture the mission area!
to make DC safe and while the story
Your powers are mine. You're ready for
Us against the world!
Don't mind me. I'm just dying. Armed and dangerous.
all of their amazing features. This comes out to only $5. That's like the price of the coffee. It is one of the first apps I check in the morning. It's great. So go
I'll
to
be shipshape in no time.
ground.news/YouTube, or use the QR
I'm
code on
back.
screen right here, or use the link in the video description down below. Again, that is ground.news/YouTube, or click the link down below. I think what they're doing is super important because it helps people approach the news.
You're ready for action.
I feel like we need that now more than ever. So thank you for
Your team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Relay deployed. It ain't cheap.
now let's get back to the news.
Feeling fantastic.
You're ready for action.
So Donald Trump and Elon Musk created the Department of Government. Get it?
This is a nice spot.
That's the boost I needed.
Us against the world!
unleash the Vishanti's power into it.
Shields up!
This is real firepower!
Judge, jury, executioner!
You're welcome. Team play. That's me.
Feeling fantastic.
Together to victory.
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
Your powers are mine.
Us against the world!
Armed and dangerous. Dog.
Battlefield medicine.
Old once a theater kid occupied government is now a right-wing schizo poster occupied government. No, I am not joking.
So this is a 19-year-old high school graduate who has used the unfortunate nickname Big
Some of my
Balls
best
online.
friends are crooks and villains.
Refer to him. He is now working at Musk's behest inside.
Armor
Doge.
packs here.
Told me 10
Pay
years ago
up.
that Donald Trump and Elon Musk would hire some zoomer named Big Balls to help audit the government.
30 seconds before you
But yeah,
attack. Get
that
ready.
checks out. They have no relevant experience. Most of them aren't old enough
I'm not
to rent
really
a
a
car.
teen guy. I've got more than enough
They're in
voices
their
in my
20s.
head.
We sent
Funny.
18-year-olds to go
I
die in
heard
the
you
wars
were
you
an
cheerlead
Avenger
on,
once.
you evil hag.
Yeah,
Why are
but
they
it
so
didn't
focused on
last long.
cheerleading?
And I
When our
burned my
government is
ID
basically
card.
a retirement.
Forget the
Honestly,
card,
I
son.
don't blame her.
Just show us
I
that
also
man
wouldn't
who
want to
carried
be
it.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3,
Or dismantling
2,
the Department of
1.
Education, or apparently
All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Was dismantling USA.
Good thing my shield always matches my outfit.
Elon said USAID is a criminal organization. Oh yeah, they're an international crime syndicate hell-bent on helping people.
Pretty fucked up, huh? Taking money away from aid
Armor
programs.
packs here. Pay up.
Except USAID was not exactly.
I'll patch you up.
In fact, it
Love
doesn't
battlefield
even
medicine.
stand for aid. It stands for United States Aid.
Good medicine.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
That's the boost I
Team
need.
play. That's me. I'll patch you up.
Although it said USAID.
Someone scratch my back.
Leave them to Khonshu.
This is real firepower.
But I'm impressed.
I'll patch you up.
And by auditing USAID, those exposed real puppet behind the
The mission area is yours.
funding the woke ideology spreading all around
Done.
the world.
What's next? Do we even have a
Yes,
plan?
it was you, American taxpayer.
I'll patch you up.
Deep state
medicine.
made along the way. And yes,
Team play. Be careful here.
they fund things like
My resistance is down.
Us against the world.
Shields up.
Maximum pulse.
Armor packs here. Pay up.
millions to an Armenian
A little help, please.
You're welcome.
That's much better.
Fear Magneto.
I unleash the Vishanti's power.
I'll patch you up.
Good medicine.
Your powers are mine. Don't mind me.
Mission area.
This
Keep
is
going.
real firepower. Man, I gotta make another beat. I'll patch you up. I could defeat the bad guys. More bad guys. Just what we need.
He's literally criticized Trump for not being enough of a warmonger. Neocon hacks, for those same few of you who are unaware, are the people in our government responsible for meddling with other countries all around the world and getting us into wars for basically fun. The people who substitute
The area's almost yours.
the military-industrial complex.
Another
welcome.
fearsome foe.
Armed and dangerous.
Willing to help?
Literally.
It's much better.
My good deed for the day. patch you up.
Us against the world!
Relay deployed.
Needed that, thanks.
Can't be allowed to seize control.
You can't be trusted with
You're ready for
that,
that.
Punisher.
Control lost!
A new era, so we have to dress
On
up
your
in
toes. Here they come.
rainbow.
The odds weren't in your favor.
Nothing but another form of
Good medicine. Judge, jury, executioner!
you dumb bimbo cop.
You're ready
you
for
reactionary shitlord.
Together to victory. What a relief.
Back in the fight.
Giving foreign countries billions of dollars out of the kindness of their hearts. Oh yeah?
Leave them to Khonshu!
See, I'm fucking helpful. You're ready for action.
What am I? Invisible?
Anything out of the kindness of their heart.
Word in your favor.
A sweet, innocent angel.
Armor patch here. Pay up.
I expect
See,
the side
I'm
We'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
That's right. Everything is mine.
I am strengthened for battle.
communist countries all around the world. Established in 1961 by President John F. Kennedy under the noble guise of aiding developing nations, USAID was, in many respects, during
Another epic victory! Big win!
crafting its own socioeconomic model. A year after President John F. created the directors that, as we do not want to send American troops to a great many areas where freedom may be under attack, we send you. It wasn't long before the CIA spotted an opportunity to extend its reach. In 1962, USAID launched its Office of Public Safety to send agents around the world under the guise of training police officers. But as it turned out, the trainers were busy teaching enhanced interrogation techniques, a euphemism for torture. The scandal broke out in 1966, and although the office was finally shut down in 1974, the dark practices persisted within military and intelligence. By 1980, USAID Administrator John Gilligan was candid enough to describe the agency as nothing more than a graduate school for the CIA. At one time, many aid field offices were infiltrated from top to bottom with CIA people, he said. It was pretty well known in the agency who they were and what they were up to. The idea was to plant operatives in every kind of activity we had overseas, government, volunteer, religious, everything. USAID was quickly nicknamed the CIA's little sister. Oh, and here's John Bolton holding a trophy given to him by USAID in the shape of a hand grenade. Yeah, nothing to see here, folks. So let's talk about Zuneo, shall we? Sit down. I love this story. Taken directly from Wikipedia, Zuneo was an online social networking and microblogging service created by the United States Agency for International Development.
You'll need a
aka
top-notch team to win
and
this
marketed
one.
to Cuban users. It was covertly developed as a long-term strategy to encourage Cubans to revolt against the nation's government. The developers aim to use
Who are you calling a raccoon, huh?
music to build up subscribers and then to slowly introduce political messages.
Be wary. No timeline
in an
exists
effort
where
to-
Magneto
So
yields.
basically, USAID created a fake-ass social media platform in Cuba with our tax dollars, flooded it with bot content about like sports and music and whatever, just to make it seem normal. Then slowly started to manipulate the users
Round
and
one,
create
I will never allow
division on the
Krakoa to
app
suffer the
between
same
Cuban
fate
citizens
as
in order to
Genosha.
create political chaos in this country and a potential uprising. So yeah, how
30
dare we
seconds
take
before
money
you
away
attack.
from those
Get ready.
starving undercover agents. To make things even more
The
sus,
web of
the
life
money
and
we spent on
destiny.
Zuneo
Ever
was
seen so many
publicly
strands before?
documented as an unnamed
time back in
project
high school when my web
Pakistan.
shooters malfunctioned.
Yes, this fake-ass social media psyop they created in Cuba was documented
I was going to go with
by our
amazing,
government
but
as being a
sure,
project
that's
in
amazing in
Pakistan.
Japanese, right?
Now, think of all the
The
other
battle
weird
starts in
things
5,
USAID was
4, 3, 2, 1.
It seems we have company.
The light post is building. Help get that vehicle to its destination. Some sort of ancient oak?
You cannot hurt me. You need not fear.
This should limit any damage.
You be more careful next time.
The supernatural threat is abated.
Twitter,
Fucking helpful.
Facebook, and 4chan. Although its internal justification was halting the flow of news and disinformation, it seemed particularly concerned with malinformation, a concept it defines as speech that is factually correct but misleading, i.e.
I feel like myself again.
Keep going!
We've been
One of Moonlight's faults, I presume.
The moon haunts you!
In other words, the state-directed attack against Algeria's media and critics. So basically,
They got behind you!
Moonlight's altar is no longer a threat.
Almost there! Don't turn back now!
that is basically what
You are under my
I
protection.
got your back, Zero!
perfect. Thank you.
Do be more careful next time.
This is real firepower.
I feel like myself again.
on Twitter or 4chan. There's also times that like streamers and social media influencers, you know, they have been
Those
funded
guys
by
are about to
USA.
shoot at us.
Track this enemy!
You get away with it. You get away with it. You.
So cold!
It was inevitable.
We're gonna have to do something about that. Enemy
Those
tag!
fingers don't work. That's blocking.
Now we really have to attack!
Venture 4. The web awaits.
Enemy tag!
I just thought that transition was nice. I just love that quote though. USAID, which is a nice organization that did a lot of nice things, like culturally
You're
help
halfway
people
there.
around
Keep
the world.
going.
Culturally help people? Why are we
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man.
I feel like myself again.
Problem solved.
Seems we have company.
Chifa Talon.
You shall not be harmed.
We got a shield, Tandy. My taxes should go to help people in my country.
Venture 4.
Thanks for everybody here mode! Almost there! Don't turn back now!
Hello, USA. We can't be spending money in Ukraine. We have to take care of our own.
You own them! They got behind you! Track this enemy!
Listen, if you actually want to take care of your own,
Enemy tag! Follow them!
kind of vulnerable. Are you actually American first?
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
You are under my protection.
You're welcome.
Much better.
I am ready to put on a show!
Fear Magneto! Fear Magneto!
Us against the world. Fantastic! Ha! Ha ha!
Mutants always rise again.
You get away with it! You get away with it! You get away!
Because of the situation that you created.
That was simple.
Those guys, they need to pull themselves up.
Appreciate it.
What? Great to know both sides of the establishment on the men. Anyway, sorry. Let's get back on topic. Now, you have
Venture 4. The web
But
awaits.
you know the good thing is that me? We're nothing but a bunch of fronts. Using Cuba as an example again.
That's it! Don't let anything stand in your way!
Much better.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
I am ready to put on a show!
Nature itself bears to my
Anyway, they were
will.
used to
I seem to be unprotected. Prepare yourself for the road ahead, little Spider.
again, creating.
Check this out.
I feel like myself again.
Fall back and regroup. Inside the workshop.
Us against the world.
气贯长虹。
Fire mode. Hi there. So close. This is your big chance.
Other countries. Just don't recruit teenagers to do next time, okay?
You're welcome.
Sometimes. All right, Dagger.
Fear man!
The current score is 3, 2, 0.
Now, Cuba wasn't
Time
the
to
only place
switch
USA
things up,
was
including which side you're
On
on.
January 12, 2010, a 7.0 magnitude earthquake struck
The
Haiti,
right heroes could make all the difference.
Be
injuring
worried.
another
No
300,000.
timeline exists where Magneto yields.
In the wake of the catastrophe, the United States provided $1.6 billion in reconstruction funding to Haiti, $651 million of which went to USAID. Rather than employing Haitian construction companies, USAID contracted out the rebuilding projects to international firms. For instance, Minnesota-based construction firm Thor was awarded $18 million.
Round
in
2,
contract.
go!
Mexico-based firm
We should
Cement
give these humans good reason to hate and fear us after all.
recipient of USAID funding in Haiti was Washington, D.C.-based contractor Monix International, who received over $200 million.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
Projects. In fact, USAID awarded more money to Monix than
Some
to
nice
the
armor you
entire
got there,
US
sweetheart.
government in the wake
How much
of
you
the
want for it?
An audit conducted on
Rocket.
projects
You
revealed
know
that
Spider isn't for sale.
How much is one?
evaluated its own project
come
with
on.
arbitrary criteria,
killing
not
me,
having
kid.
to do anything
Not
with the project,
yet,
and
but
failed
I'd
to
be
set
careful if I were
timelines,
you.
causing some projects to fall behind.
The battle starts in
In one
5,
case,
4,
Commodus was contracted to
3,
build Haiti's
2,
parliament building,
1.
but what they constructed came out half
Trouble has arrived.
Nameless brought in from
The denizens of the deep have been dealt with.
Unpredictable as this. Remain.
You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
Despite these disasters, Commodus to this day remains
What vile creature's name or has sound?
$564 million contract. In a leaked
Rocket's
email,
beacon has been dealt with.
ensuring that helping is their only goal. Am I right? And you know how people are
I'm trying to help.
luxury? Yep, part of that has to do with
I feel like myself again.
Whoa, those are some angry octopi! Thanks, Namor. Now I can... Get ready. Here come the bad guys.
I seem to be unprotected.
I become homing.
I am ready to put on a show!
Should have stayed underwater, fellas.
You need not fear.
This is real fire power! I'm ready like a storm.
Fear Magneto! You Namor's subjects are tenacious. I'll give them that.
Us against the world.
Fear Magneto!
There's a lot more world here.
I feel like myself
Patch you
again.
up.
There were even out there shutting down everything, including Russia after the USAID. So we were barely funding Ukraine and Russia. Serbia, Moldova, all across Latin America, independently shutting down everything.
气贯长龙。
Fire mode!
I'll patch you up.
You need not fear.
Or sterilizing the and the famous one you all know, Fun Book These aren't mistakes.
Down to 30 seconds! I am ready to put on a show! The final 10 seconds! Us against the world! We'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner. Shield up!
Trouble has arrived. They're coming from behind. Problem solved. This is real firepower.
I feel like myself again. You are under my protection.
And it was. But as far as I'm concerned, every article written about how bad dismantling it was written by John Bolton himself. But the president of Columbia said, take your money with you.
They hit a checkpoint. Now might be a good time to stop them.
I'm not the man I used to
This
be.
video will be in links
I have
down
found
below.
a greater cause.
As always. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing. A lot of you aren't subscribed apparently. You just watch and f off. I will find you. Also, this video is most likely going to
气贯长龙。
Better stop that vehicle! This should keep us safe.
and I will see you next time.
Careful, Ty! Your light force exposed! I am ready to put on a show!
I feel like myself again. Our enemy has been spotted.
Problem solved.
Us against the world!
You're welcome.
Magneto! You need not fear.
Hold still, I'm trying to help.
Enjoy the air.
Whoever they are, they don't look friendly.
Don't mind me. I'm just dying. This is real firepower.
Much better.
You're welcome.
Only 60 seconds left. They made it halfway! Stop them!
You're welcome.
They're on your tail!
You get a weapon. You get a weapon. You get a weapon.
Down to 30 seconds.
I'll patch you.
I am ready to put on a show!
Magneto! Honor superior reigns supreme.
The final 10 seconds!
Maximum pulse!
We'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
I've located an enemy. Someone scratch my back.
What is that? Much better.
Problem solved. Hey, enjoy the air.
You got them all! You didn't have to let me do it.
Appreciate it.
Final score, 3, 2, 1.
You guys don't care about this guy. I'm talking about these two, but somebody else cares about this person.
and you just ran
Another epic victory! Big win!
Out of our country. Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over, and that's why nobody watches you anymore?
Nag, nag, nag. You sound just like the Supreme Court. Nag, nag. But fear not, American. For every time a lamestream media journalist gets shunned, an ass-kissy one gets its wings.
Do you have a question, please?
Mr. President, thank you so much. You scored another major investment win this morning when NVIDIA pledged to build its AI supercomputer for the first time ever right here in the United States.
That's a question I like. That's true.
Yeah, that's not a question. I guess it's your favorite kind of question, a compliment. But rest easy, Americans, if there's one thing we all know, it's that first they come for the undocumented migrants. And as long as nobody speaks out, they stop.
You mentioned that you're open to deporting individuals that aren't foreign aliens but criminals to El Salvador. Does that include potentially U.S. citizens fully naturalized?
If it's a homegrown criminal, I have no problem. I'm talking about really bad people. Really bad people.
He's going to do that to U.S. citizens. I think the hosts of The View are about to get administratively errored. I got to tell you, I did not think he would get this authoritarian this fast. I really didn't. I'm sorry. Who could have known? Maybe if somebody out there had yelled at me on Blue Sky about this, I would have known. But no one did. Except every day. In all caps. So I guess the question is, how authoritarian is we? Now, I don't accept your pity applause. Now, luckily for us, the world is full of authoritarian leaders that we can measure Trump against. Your Putins, your Xis, your Anna Wintours. So if Trump can put up a monster authoritarian score, you know what? Let's do this Dave Portnoy style. One clip, everybody knows the rules. By the way, the greatest pizza reviews in the history of pizza. If you guys like pizza, for me, it's like watching porn. We already know Trump's done a lot of the standard fare. He's attacked the free press, pulled random people off the streets, made law firms and universities bend the knee, announced Department of Justice investigations into an individual whose sole crime was suggesting that the 2020 election had been safe and well administered. You know, the bad, bad people. But authoritarianism isn't just policies. It's an aesthetic. The opulence of medieval kings, the excesses of Middle Eastern autocrats. It's a Pinterest vibe that speaks to the power of one's position, the riches that are the privilege of the office. Does Trump measure up? Does he have the lack of available wall space?
You have the mantle, and you have the cherubs is that from Marlon?
Yeah, that's actually, they're gold, all gold. And you know, it's angels.
They're angels. They visited me in the night and asked me to change my ways. So I held them down and dipped them in gold. I drowned them in gold, liquid gold. Have you ever heard an angel scream? It is erotic. By the way, if any of you are wondering if the cherubs that are now in the Oval Office are real gold, and I know many of you are wondering that. It is real gold. There's a very good reason for that.
Throughout the years, people have tried to come up with a gold paint that would look like gold, and they've never been able to do it. You've never been able, look at that look. You've never been able to match gold with gold paint. That's why it's gold.
dude is so blue collar. Oh, he's down at the factory with the boys. Why can't they make a gold paint that looks like gold? That's not illegal. I don't mind them canceling pediatric cancer research, but I hope by the end of the term we can come up with a good gold paint substitute because... But you know, rooms filled with real gold cherubs are nothing. Those rooms aren't also filled with the echoes of the most embarrassingly sycophantic hosannas. One clip, everybody knows who it is.
Thank you for your leadership and thank you for everything you're doing.
I want to thank you for standing up to the Chinese Communist Party.
I want to thank you as well for the shipbuilding.
Your vision is a turning point and an inflection point in American history.
Your leadership at the border, absolutely remarkable.
What you're doing now, I think, is a great service to our country, but ultimately to the world.
You were overwhelmingly elected by the biggest majority.
You know what? I swear to God. Guys, what does she know? She's the Attorney General. She doesn't have the... When I watch those cabinet meetings, I actually think, are they making fun of him? It's so over the top. Mr. President, oh, thank you so much. Your dick is so big. Oh, your dick is so big, we can barely lift it because it's covered in real gold, not the paint, real gold. But you know, any run-of-the-mill authoritarian can get the praises from those that fear him, the OGs. The real autocrats extract something much, much weirder and humiliating. The forced, uncomfortable laughter.
열정이 있어 공화국 창건을 이룬 다소선수를 앞두고 우리 국가의 위상을 다시금 과시할 수 있게 됐다고.
He had a hat on, and then he puts another hat on, the same hat, but still. That's on the North Korean website, Funny or You Die. And as America's dear leader, Donald Trump also has a tight five.
We're pulling all that out and putting the money toward the infrastructure, not the social movement from the last administration.
Good steel, right, as opposed to green paper mache. Good, thanks, great job.
That made no f***ing sense, right? Nothing, right? Did that make any sense to you? Did it make any sense to me? Oh, you better laugh, though, right? Oh, put a hat on, put a hat on. It's just so f***ing weird. But the key to the authoritarian regime is the suspension of the normal processes by which you understand the world. The manner by which data and your experiences paint a cohesive, grounded picture of reality. The calling card of an authoritarian regime is that you must suspend that reality, that rationality, and then you test people by pushing the limits of that absurdity.
The White House released the results of President Trump's physical exam. His doctors say President Trump exhibits excellent physical health.
The report says he's 6'3", 224 pounds.
No. I'm gonna say no to either of those numbers. I don't want to be that guy, but he has a front butt. I mean, we all get there. It's fine. You can have it. But what's with he is forged by Hephaestus? No. And by the way, that medical exam did not only confirm that Trump is physically good, his brain is also totally jacked.
I took a cognitive test, and I don't know what to tell you other than I got every answer right.
Can you tell us about the cognitive test? Is that man, woman, person, camera, TV?
It's a, I think it's a pretty well-known test. Whatever it is, I got it all right.
I think we all know what cognitive test we're talking about. But I would like to know, do you know what cognitive test? It's just bullshit. I took a cognitive test about my memory. What was it? It's testing. Trump is such a medical marvel. What's the secret to his good health and youthful appearance?
Sense of humor decreases stress that he has. Everyone that knows the president knows how funny he is. That decreases stress.
Does it? Sense of humor decreases stress. Keeps you young looking. Is that what I hear you saying? May I, if I may, Mr. Schnicks, offer the counter argument? Do I look less stressed? No, don't look up with me. But you know what? He's got a good sense of humor and he's in pretty good shape. May work for your run-of-the-mill authoritarians, your Lukashenkos, your Maduros. Surely Trump is above that C tier.
Donald Trump is a genius, very different in the best possible way.
The president has an athlete's mindset. Accessible, freewheeling, refreshing.
It is like Christmas every day with President Trump.
He's like that Marvel superhero.
A mythic figure, almost like the various Scandinavian Beowulfs.
I'm obviously not a scholar in Viking lore. I don't remember there being Beowulfs. Was one Beowulf? Wouldn't it also then do Beowulfs? But those are still just reaching for superlatives. Is there anyone else who wants to place him not on Mount Rushmore, but maybe Mount Sinai?
Can Trump be the biblical Moses?
No! I'm not the most observant Jew. I mean, this weekend I think I celebrated Purim, but... Is it Moses, the biblical Moses? And by the way, if you were Moses, I do think there were some thou shalt nots that you might want to take a look at. By the way, Moses, 6'4", 218, 48-inch. But you know what? Even a superhero or a Viking or a mythic figure or a biblical prophet pales in comparison to the genius that we are witnessing.
Zelensky's playing checkers and Trump is playing chess. Trump's 3D chess move.
He's actually playing 4D chess.
President Trump's 5D chess.
That's not a dimension. With length, width, depth, 4 is time. There's no fucking 5. There's no 5. He is a god who has created a whole other dimension through which he plays board games. Let me even see. How do you play 5-dimensional Trump chess? Let me see how we do this. So here's how we probably do it. We lose them for DEI. Okay. I guess that's it. I guess that is 5D. You know, for an authoritarian that awesome, I guess words are not enough. Tributes to a great leader must show, not tell.
A new proposal by House Republicans to rename Washington Dulles International Airport after Donald Trump.
Brendan Carr, the FCC chairman, was seen wearing a gold pin of Trump's face.
A congresswoman introduced a bill to add President Trump to Mount Rushmore.
That would make President Trump's birthday a national holiday.
Put President Trump's likeness on the $100 bill, a brand new $250 bill featuring Donald Trump's face.
It's gonna be on all our money and all our fucking mountains. So Trump's got it all. Authoritarian-wise, the looks, the attitude, the relentless dissent crushing, all the ingredients to be a top-tier authoritarian. All he needs now is to bring it home with his ruthless competence.
Chaos and confusion from Wall Street.
The market's lost more than $6.5 trillion.
They've wiped out $11 trillion.
Turning now to yet another plane crash.
The worst measles outbreak of this century.
100,000 federal workers have been fired.
The Trump administration unfiring some of the federal workers.
President Trump's tariff train escalates the global trade war.
The president hits pause on his global trade war.
The president made it clear yesterday this is not a negotiation.
Donald Trump says it is a negotiation.
The president exempted smartphones, computers, and other devices from his new reciprocal tariffs.
The president later posting there was no tariff exception announced on Friday.
So close. So frustrating to see someone just on the precipice of illiberal leadership, but he just can't put it all together. Is Trump Putin or Xi? Not yet. There's no question he was a young upstart. There was a lot of potential. But if he can't bump his numbers in the getting shit done category, he's got to hit the ceiling pretty quick. You know what? Let me Donald, let me have a word. President Trump, Generalissimo. Oh, great Moses. I don't know what your advisors have told you about the authoritarian bargain, but the basic deal is this. The American people look the other way while you disappear undesirables, knuckle under the elites, ban all 7 trans athletes from our nation's beloved NCAA fencing tournaments. You know, all the people that are holding us back. And then you, in turn, make shit work. You want to ignore the Supreme Court and all the other courts and take away people's licenses to broadcast? Fine. But when the planes go and not on fire, you don't even have to have them be on time. You can take over Greenland, demonize Canada, dominate the golfing pro circuit, but in return, our children should be somewhat safe from most Victorian-era diseases. We love our children. We love them. We love our children, especially the Rizzler. You want to destroy NPR and PBS, the Voice of America, sell the naming rights of the Washington Monument to hymns.com, use the R word, the P word, the C word, make up your own slurs, have the United States Naval Academy remove Maya Angelou from its bookshelf, but for some reason keep Mein Kampf, which is a real thing that they did, we'll be fine. We weren't that crazy about this system of government in the first place. But you keep this up, and some of these lawyers and universities, corporate leaders, are going to start to think about suggesting, respectfully, to each other in a very tightly controlled text chat that someone should reach out to someone who knows someone in your administration to express mild dissatisfaction. Because injustice anywhere is not something we mostly think about. And remember, you don't have that much time to get it right. Because it's not like your vice authoritarian Butterfingers is inspiring any confidence.
Look at the size of that trophy next to J.D. Vance.
I know. Those are some big young gentlemen and a big trophy as well.
Big dudes, yeah. Oh, and it looks like a trophy fell. That's unfortunate.
Oopsie! Administrative error. Welcome to the Daily Show. My name is John Stewart. Great show for you tonight. Rahm Emanuel will be joining me later to remind me. He'll be out here. Reminding me just which one of the 3 brothers he is again. I don't know. Is he the one that owns UFC? Doesn't matter at this point. But that is later. First, as you know, our economy. Our economy is in the midst of a beautiful metamorphosis. Turning from a simple caterpillar into a dead caterpillar. So let's get into it with another exciting installment of Trade Wars.
My favorite word.
Tariffs. Tariffs. Now, you might remember when Donald Trump was reelected, Wall Street was thrilled, excited about deregulation, tax cuts, and the fact that you could once again call people sugar tits.
One top banker told the paper that he feels liberated because now he can use offensive slurs like the R word and the P word without fear of getting canceled at work.
The R word and the P word? Well, I can tell you today that that top banker is definitely using both of those words. Perhaps even adding motherfucker right now.
The market meltdown for the 3rd straight day. Global markets are sinking.
Markets across Asia, Europe, and
Australia plunging.
At one point this morning, the Dow sinking almost 1,600 points.
The market's lost more than $6.5 trillion in value.
This is an economic Armageddon.
Where's a Hawaiian shirt to an economic Armageddon? What are we doing here? Would they pull you in from the pool? Either Financial Channel's Rodney Dangerfield or something? I told my wife about the stock plunge. She said, "Oh, I thought you guys would never go down there." Haven't done that one in a while. So. This turmoil could have lasting effects on the global economy, on everyday Americans, and most worryingly, the stock portfolios of members of Congress. Mr. President, now is the time to soothe a worried nation.
Donald Trump put this out on social media. Don't be weak, don't be stupid, don't be a panican, which he has termed a new party based on weak and stupid people. The genius who gave us classics like Sleepy Joe and Crooked Hillary just shit out You're a Panican? How about Hysterocrats? Rapussicans? How about Cryentologists? Did the overseas factory you had been sourcing your nicknames from get shut down during the tariff war? So we're going to try this again, Mr. President. Can you ease the fears of this nation like a true leader?
President Trump holding firm, posting on Truth Social, only the weak will fail.
Your economic policy has the same tagline as season 3 of Squid Game? That's supposed to make us feel better. Only the weak shall die in my economy. By the way, in case you didn't get the point, that he doesn't give a He spent the weekend showing, not telling. He played not a round of golf this weekend, a tournament of golf. A 3-day tournament. 812 holes of golf with his Live Golf Saudi benefactors. And in case you're wondering about the venerated journalists who are now allowed to be in the press pool, this was literally the first question he was asked on Air Force One in the middle of a financial meltdown.
How was the golf tournament? Very good, because I won. It's good to win. You heard I won. Did you hear I won?
Because I won. You heard I won. You heard I won. I won. You heard I won. I won. Mom, I won. Mom! I won the tournament, Mom. I'm a good boy. Good boy, good golf. I know the stock market is not the totality of the economy, but if I remember correctly, in the run-up to the election, Trump seemed very concerned about the stock market.
If Harris wins this election, the result will be a Kamala economic crash, a 1929-style depression.
And anything she can do, I can do better. I can do it on my own. I won, Mom. Hey, Mom. Hey, Mom, look. Hey, Mom, look, no economy. Please love me. And it didn't have to happen like this. Trump had so many options to shape the world economy into the one he thought was fair. He could have proposed some incentives to bring back manufacturing. He could have gone sector to sector, nation to nation, negotiate better trade reciprocal agreements. But he had to go to full Teresa.
be fair to the Trump administration, they did give it almost 2 months and no effort before they asked ChatGPT what it thought they should do. But for those of us who've been tricked into believing that an economic crisis is a crisis, Trump's people have an answer.
Don't panic. Calm down. Everything's going to be okay.
I would not worry at all.
The Dow's actually in the same place it was in August.
Do me a favor, don't look at your stock portfolio.
You know what? I don't really care about my 401k.
Live, laugh, love. That's what I always say. You know what I say, don't you? It's 401k somewhere. And when did the right become so chill? Aren't you the Bud Lights turning my kids trans, folks? But economic meltdown and you're getting all philosophical?
Losing money costs you nothing. This is just the reality of life. You're gonna, like, young and dumb. How much money did you lose? Everyone loses money. Everyone loses money. It costs you nothing.
Except money. Losing money costs you money. It's the definition of losing money. And I know you go, well, it's going to be worth it to get the character of the country that we want back again. But we have no f***ing idea if that's actually what's going to happen. You're all acting like the tariff regime is a tried and true remedy. Oh, of course, this is the medicine that's always prescribed. Except the last time it was tried 100 years ago, we had a Great Depression. So how does this work?
It's just a big game of economic operation as he's sticking things in, trying to take out tariffs.
It's like, you know, when you're my age, you got to get a colonoscopy. You need a full colonic, like, to feel better. You know what I mean?
Rat poison can kill somebody in the wrong dosages, but in the right dosages, that could be very healthy for the patient.
So everyone relax. This is merely a routine rat poison colonoscopy. By the way, what's the right dosage of rat poison? Oh, if you get enough of it, hey, your headache will be gone. And by the way, I mean, it's slightly off topic, but the colonoscopy guy, his name is John Tobacco. That's a witness protection thing, isn't it? So here's how it's going to go. Your new name is John Tobacco. Say it back to me, John Tobacco. Your name is John Tobacco. Say it back to me, John Tobacco. Your new profession is you do anus metaphors on Newsmax. Your name is John Tobacco. You do anus metaphors. Say it back. Say it back. By the way, if Trump wants us to stay the course with his radical plan, you might want to think of a strategy that inspires our confidence, that you all know what you're doing. Like for instance, these tariffs. Is this a negotiation?
The president made it clear yesterday this is not a negotiation.
Let me make this very clear. This is not a negotiation. This is not that. This is a national emergency.
Okay, it's a national emergency. It's not a negotiation. Well, I don't agree, but at least I have some clarity now.
The tariffs give us great power to negotiate. Always have.
Too much rat poison. So what is this a negotiation or is this permanent?
It can both be true. There can be permanent tariffs and there can also be negotiations.
How much White Lotus did you people watch? What is permanence in this negotiated life we live? Have a pina colada. Forget about if they're permanent or not permanent. What are we doing? How will this bring jobs back? What are these jobs? Commerce Secretary Lutnick.
Trillions of dollars of factories are going to be built in America. The army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones. That kind of thing is going to come to America.
This is also that millions of Americans can develop the dexterity. I can't even get the lint out of the charging area on my phone. Now I gotta do Those are the jobs?
That kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade craft of America, is going to fix them.
Mechanics fixing robotics. That's what's coming to America.
So it's not the screws. We're going to be robot mechanics. The robots do the screwing, and we're just there to make sure the robots are lubed and ready to screw. That is the American Renaissance. We are robot fluffers. We are waiting. This is all. So if I'm an American manufacturer, how long do these onerous tariffs have to stay in place to convince me to build my army of automated screw and robot mechanics?
They are definitely going to stay in place for days and weeks.
John Stewart from Popular Robot Mechanics. I've never built a fully automated robot factory before, but is days and weeks enough time? Or too much time? Feels like it would take a month. Well, I guess that's silver lining number one of this trade war. Want something even more underwhelming? Here's the Treasury Secretary on if we've heard the good news on the stock collapse.
One thing that I can tell you as the Treasury Secretary, what I've been very impressed with is the market infrastructure, that we had record volume on Friday, and everything is working very smoothly, so the American people they can be very, take great comfort in that.
Blink twice if you want to be saved. I was very impressed that in a market crash, the building is still standing. You know, the captain of I was very impressed by the way that the Titanic just slid into the water. Almost like it was taking a bath. Just dipping a toe. Those drowning should take great comfort in the lack of backsplash. But their best argument so far for any of this is the same one that we got about Tinkerbell being able to fly. You have to believe.
Don't panic, okay? You've got a president who understands business.
I am grateful for a commander-in-chief that has the business acumen.
Luckily, we have a businessman in the White House right now.
The president did write the book, The Art of the Deal.
Trump is a master negotiator, and he does know the art of the deal.
We're supposed to trust this guy because he wrote The Art of the Deal. You ever say, I got the book, Art of the Deal? Yeah, that's why we're supposed to trust him. You ever look at Chapter 9 in Art of the Deal? It's about how smart Trump is about his casino in Atlantic City. Oh, yeah, Chapter 9. I built a casino in Atlantic City. I'm a business genius. Whatever happened to the casino, Donald? Look, you make a big announcement, but your reciprocal tariff formula was just the trade deficit divided by imports equation. And when you got busted on that, you threw out this ridiculous in calculus problem that's just shapes. That it boils down to the trade deficit divided by imports, which is the formula that got the rich country of Lesotho hit with 50% tariffs. Lesotho. Yo, your free ride's over, you denim-making fat cats. But we continue to blame everybody else in the world that we designed and policed after World War II. We're the richest country in the world ever. We're not the world's victims. If we have inequalities in this country, that's on us. It's not a supply problem. It's not unfair trade for the most part. It's an investment and distribution problem. It's our fucking fault. And I'm not saying we can't make adjustments and renegotiate things, but it didn't have to be this reckless. You killed the hostage and then went, so ransom?
Some of the biggest stock market declines since the Great Depression.
The worst 3 consecutive sessions since 1987.
Even worse than it was during the 2008 financial crisis.
Their worst day since June 2020 during the COVID pandemic.
Financial destruction not seen since the pandemic. And this time, there's no controversy over how it all started. There's no wet mark. You, Trump, released the contagion. It's your lab leak. And it's right out in the open. This is like if the researchers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology walked out to the Great Lawn with a Tupperware and went, "We have an exciting announcement." When Donald Trump was reelected, Wall Street was thrilled, excited about deregulation, tax cuts, and the fact that you could once again call people sugar tits.
One top banker told the paper that he feels liberated because now he can use offensive slurs like the R word and the P word without fear of getting canceled at work.
The R word and the P word? Well, I can tell you today that that top banker is definitely using both of those words. Perhaps even adding motherfucker right now.
The market meltdown for the third straight day. Global markets are sinking.
Markets across Asia, Europe, and Australia plunging.
At one point this morning, the Dow sinking almost 1,600 points.
The markets lost more than $6.5 trillion in value.
This is an economic Armageddon.
Where's a Hawaiian shirt to an economic Armageddon? What are we doing here? Would they pull you in from the pool? You the Financial Channel's Rodney Dangerfield or something? I told my wife about the stock plunge. She said, "Oh, I thought you guys would never go down there." No. Haven't done that one in a while. This turmoil could have lasting effects on the global economy, on everyday Americans, and most worryingly, the stock portfolios of members of Congress. Mr. President, now is the time to soothe a worried nation.
Donald Trump put this out on social media. Don't be weak, don't be stupid, don't be a panican, which he has termed a new party based on weak and stupid people.
Panican? The genius who gave us classics like Sleepy Joe and Crooked Hillary just shit out "You're a Panican"? How about Hysterocrats? Repussikins. How about cryontologists? Did the overseas factory you had been sourcing your nicknames from get shut down during the tariff war? So we're going to try this again, Mr. President. Can you ease the fears of this nation like a true leader?
President Trump holding firm, posting on Truth Social, only the weak will fail.
Your economic policy has the same tagline as season 3 of Squid Game? That's supposed to make us feel better? Only the weak shall die in my economy. By the way, in case you didn't get the point, that he doesn't give a he spent the weekend showing, not telling. He played not a round of golf this weekend, a tournament of golf. A 3-day tournament. 812 holes of golf with his Live Golf Saudi benefactors. And in case you're wondering about the venerated journalists who are now allowed to be in the press pool, this was literally the first question he was asked on Air Force One in the middle of a financial meltdown.
How was the golf tournament?
Very good, because I won. It's good to win. You heard I won, right? Did you hear I won?
Because I won. You heard I won. You heard I won. I won. You heard I won. I won. Mom, I won. Mom! I won the tournament, Mom. I'm a good boy. Good boy, good golf. I know the stock market is not the totality of the economy, but if I remember correctly, in the run-up to the election, Trump seemed very concerned about the stock market.
If Harris wins this election, the result will be a Kamala economic crash, a 1929-style depression.
And anything she can do, I can do better. I can do it on my own. I won, Mom. Hey, Mom. Hey, Mom, look. Hey, Mom, look. No economy. Please love me. And it didn't have to happen like this. Trump had so many options to shape the world economy into the one he thought was fairer. He could have proposed some incentives to bring back manufacturing. He could have gone sector to sector, nation to nation, negotiate better trade reciprocal agreements. But he had to go to full Teresa. Now, to be fair, to be fair to the Trump administration, they did give it almost 2 months and no effort before they asked ChatGPT what it thought they should do. But for those of us who've been tricked into believing that an economic crisis is a crisis, Trump's people have an answer.
Don't panic. Calm down. Everything's going to be okay.
I would not worry at all.
The Dow's actually in the same place it was in August.
Do me a favor, don't look at your stock portfolio.
You know what? I don't really care about my 401k.
Live, laugh, love. That's what I always say. You know what I say, don't you? It's 401k somewhere. And when did the right become so chill? Aren't you the Bud Lights turning my kids trans, folks? But economic meltdown and you're getting all philosophical?
Losing money costs you nothing. This is just the reality of life. Were you young and dumb? How much money did you lose? Everyone loses money. Everyone loses money. It costs you nothing.
Except money. Losing money costs you money. It's the definition of losing money. And I know you go, well, it's going to be worth it to get the character of the country that we want back again. But we have no f***ing idea if that's actually what's going to happen. You're all acting like the tariff regime is a tried and true remedy. Oh, of course, this is the medicine that's always prescribed. Except the last time it was tried 100 years ago, we had a Great Depression. So how does this work?
It's just a big game of economic operation as he's sticking things in, trying to take out tariffs.
It's like, you know, when you're my age, you got to get a colonoscopy. You need a full colonic, like, to feel better. You know what I mean?
Rat poison can kill somebody in the wrong dosages, but in the right dosages, that can be very healthy for the patient.
So everyone relax. This is merely a routine rat poison colonoscopy. By the way, what's the right dosage of rat poison? Oh, if you get enough of it, hey, your headache will be gone. And by the way, I mean, it's slightly off topic, but the colonoscopy guy, his name is John Tobacco. That's a witness protection thing, isn't it? Yeah. So here's how it's going to go. Your new name is John Tobacco. Say it back to me, John Tobacco. Your name is John Tobacco. Say it back to me, John Tobacco. Your new profession is you do anus metaphors on Newsmax. Your name is John Tobacco. You do anus metaphors. Say it back to me. Say it back to me. By the way, if Trump wants us to stay the course with his radical plan, you might want to think of a strategy that inspires our confidence, that you all know what you're doing. Like for instance, these tariffs. Is this a negotiation?
The president made it clear yesterday this is not a negotiation.
Let me make this very clear. This is not a negotiation. This is not that. This is a national emergency.
Okay, it's a national emergency. It's not a negotiation. Well, I don't agree, but at least I have some clarity now.
The tariffs give us great power to negotiate. Always have.
Too much rat poison. So what, is this a negotiation or is this permanent?
They can both be true. There can be permanent tariffs and there can also be negotiations.
How much White Lotus did you people watch? What is permanence in this negotiated life we live? Have a pina colada. Forget about if they're permanent or not permanent. What are we doing? How will this bring jobs back? What are these jobs? Commerce Secretary Lutnick.
Trillions of dollars of factories are going to be built in America. The army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones. That kind of thing is going to come to America.
This is also that millions of Americans can develop the dexterity. I can't even get the lint out of the charging area on my phone. Now I gotta do the screw on the thing. Those are the jobs?
That kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade craft of America, is going to fix them. Mechanics fixing robotics. That's what's coming to America.
So it's not the screws. We're going to be robot mechanics. The robots do the screwing, and we're just there to make sure the robots are lubed and ready to screw. That is the American Renaissance. We are robot fluffers. We are We are waiting. This is all. So if I'm an American manufacturer, how long do these onerous tariffs have to stay in place to convince me to build my army of automated screw and robot mechanics?
They are definitely going to stay in place for days and weeks.
John Stewart from Popular Robot Mechanics. I've never built a fully automated robot factory before, but is days and weeks enough time? Or too much time? Feels like it would take a month. Well, I guess that's silver lining number one of this trade war. Want something even more underwhelming? Here's the Treasury Secretary on if we've heard the good news on the stock collapse.
One thing that I can tell you as the Treasury Secretary, what I've been very impressed with is the market infrastructure, that we had record volume on Friday, and everything is working very smoothly, so the American people can be very, take great comfort in that.
Blink twice if you want to be saved. I was very impressed that in the market crash, the building is still standing. You know, the captain of I was very impressed by the way that the Titanic just slid into the water. Just almost like it was taking a bath. Just dipping a toe. Those drowning should take great comfort in the lack of backsplash. But their best argument so far for any of this is the same one that we got about Tinkerbell being able to fly. You have to believe.
Don't panic, okay? You've got a president who understands business.
I am grateful for a commander-in-chief that has the business acumen.
Luckily, we have a businessman in the White House right now. The president did write the book, The Art of the Deal.
Look, Trump is a master, negotiator, and he does know the art of the deal.
We're supposed to trust this guy because he wrote The Art of the Deal? You ever say, I got the book, Art of the Deal? Yeah, that's why we're supposed to trust him. You ever look at Chapter 9 in The Art of the Deal? It's about how smart Trump is about his casino in Atlantic City. Oh, yeah, Chapter 9. I built a casino in Atlantic City. I'm a business genius. Whatever happened to the casino, Donald? Trust me. Look, you make a big announcement, but your reciprocal tariff formula was just the trade deficit divided by imports equation. And when you got busted on that, you threw out this ridiculous calculus problem that just shapes. That it boils down to the trade deficit divided by imports, which is the formula that got the rich country of Lesotho hit with 50% tariffs. Lesotho. Yo, your free ride's over, you denim-making fat cats. But we continue to blame everybody else in the world that we designed and policed after World War II. We're the richest country in the world, ever. We're not the world's victims. If we have inequalities in this country, that's on us. It's not a supply problem. It's not unfair trade for the most part. It's an investment and distribution problem. It's our fucking fault. And I'm not saying we can't make adjustments and renegotiate things, but it didn't have to be this reckless. You killed the hostage and then went, so ransom?
Some of the biggest stock market declines since the Great Depression.
The worst 3 consecutive sessions since 1987.
Even worse than it was during the 2008 financial crisis.
Their worst day since June 2020 during the COVID pandemic.
Financial destruction not seen since the pandemic. And this time, there's no controversy over how it all started. There's no wet mark. You Trump released the contagion. It's your lab leak. And it's right out in the open. This is like if the researchers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology walked out to the Great Lawn with a Tupperware and went, "We have an exciting announcement."
It's been 1 week since Donald Trump announced his bold vision for destroying the economy, and guess what? His plan is working.
After another chaotic day on Wall Street, America's CEOs are sounding the alarm.
Most CEOs I talk to would say we are probably in a recession right now.
A new CNBC survey showing those concerns are widespread, with 69% of CEOs expecting a recession and 82% expecting resurgent inflation.
This is a snapshot of the Dow since President Trump's inauguration, after dropping more than 15% since its record high, putting it into correction territory.
I'm not an economist, but it's probably a bad sign when the chart itself looks like it jumped off the roof. Look at that drop. Six Flags is going to make a roller coaster of that. Mom, I want to ride the Dow Jones. We can't afford it. So the economy is incredibly unstable right now. The only upside is that this crash is much easier to understand than the 2008 one. Remember The Big Short, where they had to have Margot Robbie explain it in a bathtub? Here's how that would go today.
Trump did it.
Thanks, Margot. Thank you. So the president may have single-handedly tipped us into a global recession. And with so much uncertainty, the world is glued to the financial news networks, who are surely focusing on this story 24/7. Right, Fox Business?
The president welcomes the World Series champions, the Los Angeles Dodgers, to the White House. He was funny. He was entertaining.
Yes, that's definitely the big story. The president made new friends today. So yes, economists are afraid that we're headed into a recession, but don't worry. Things could still improve quickly as long as Trump de-escalates soon.
President Trump escalates his trade war with more threats against China.
President Trump is now promising a new 50% tariff on China, on top of the other new tariffs, which are on top of existing tariffs. Combined, this would make U.S. tariffs on imports from China a whopping 104%.
104% tariffs? Okay, this is getting really serious. We'll know exactly how serious once we ask China to do the math for us, but point is, Trump is out of control right now. I'd say he's like a bull in a china shop, but at 104%, I can't afford to say that. It's really starting to feel like the entire world is teetering on the brink of chaos. It's honestly impossible to report on literally anything else right now, right, Fox News?
A women's pool championship in the UK with no women in the final round, after two transgender players defeated their female opponents to face off for the title.
No, not the British women's pool tournament. That's America's favorite pastime. But the tariffs aren't just tearing apart our economy and tearing apart America's trade with China. They're also tearing apart Donald Trump's friends.
An internal battle over Trump's tariffs between top advisor Peter Navarro and Elon Musk.
This is a behind-the-scenes rivalry that's now exploding into public view between Elon Musk and Peter Navarro, two very different wings of the Trump administration.
Ooh. I have to pick between Elon Musk and Peter Navarro? This is like the trolley problem. If the problem was that you only have one trolley. You know what? This is actually a substantive debate. Elon likes free trade. Peter Navarro likes the tariffs. Let's start with Navarro's argument.
Elon's a car manufacturer, but he's not a car manufacturer. He's a car assembler. If you go to his Texas plant, a good part of the engines that he gets, which in the EV case is the batteries, come from Japan and come from China. The electronics come from Taiwan, and he wants the cheap foreign parts, and we understand that. But we want him home.
Okay, that's a compelling point. Peter Navarro thinks Musk is taking advantage of unfair trade policies at the risk of American prosperity. Elon, what's your response?
Musk calling him a moron and dumber than a sack of bricks.
There's the latest, calling him Peter Retardo.
Powerful counterpoint. Powerful. God, I I hope Elon Musk never has to defend himself in court. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, gay! I rest my case. Getting this glimpse into Trump's team of dumb-dumb rivals is even more disturbing. The president is sending the economy off a cliff. Business leaders are furious with him. His team is tearing each other apart, and the two biggest economies on the planet are entering a trade war. It might be time for the news organizations that supported him to come to terms with why they supported him in the first place. What do you say, Newsmax?
This is a remarkable moment that has come to light all over again. Back in 1992, Donald Trump threw a football through a hole designed for one football. Is that amazing or what?
Put me down for or what? Last Wednesday, Donald Trump announced that in 1 week, he was going to impose the biggest increase in tariffs in 100 years. And after a week of panic buying a year's supply of toilet paper and air fryers, the day has finally arrived.
It is 11:59 and 48 seconds, which means we are just moments away from the president's new tariffs.
It's President Trump's long-awaited tariff day.
It's reciprocal tariff day.
Well, the tariffs are here.
All right, it is Tariff Day.
Happy Tariff Day, everyone! It's what Trump is replacing Juneteenth with. Now, Trump is celebrated by putting tariffs on every country in the world, including 104% on products made in China, which is probably fine. I mean, how many products are made in China? But Tariff Day wasn't just celebrated here in America. Other countries got in on the fun, too.
Swift retaliation. Both China and the European Union are responding to President Trump's tariffs. China has announced its own retaliatory tariffs, 84% on all U.S. goods it imports.
According to the European Union, almonds, orange juice, poultry, soybeans, steel and aluminum products, tobacco, and yachts imported from the United States now will have a 25% levy on them.
25% on yachts? Why do these trade wars always have to screw over the little guy? I'll be honest, I didn't even know America made yachts. I thought the only thing we made here was Nepo babies. But this really feels like it's spiraling out of control. It seems like the smart move is to back off this whole thing. But Trump's team has been adamant that they will stay the course.
This is not a negotiation.
It's not the kind of thing you can negotiate away.
I don't think there's any chance that President Trump's going to back off his tariffs.
The president made it clear yesterday this is not a negotiation.
Trump posted this morning, my policies will never change.
Well, that's it then. They're in it to win it. Full speed ahead. From the window to the walls. Skeet, 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 motherfuckers. Trump's policy will never, ever change.
This is CNN Breaking News.
The president announced just minutes ago that he's now, quote, authorized a 90-day pause on some of his new tariffs.
What? The trade war's over? But it's Tariff Day. I shaved my legs for this. Now I have to grow it all back. But hey, at least we can buy things from China again, right? I mean, Amazon Prime, here I come.
Notably, though, the president is raising the tariff applied to China from the United States to 125% effective immediately. So this pause applies to other countries, not China.
Hey Siri, cancel 1,000 air fryers. Trump, I don't understand what happened here. You tanked global stock markets, you put us on the verge of a recession, you told everyone to build factories in America because the tariffs wouldn't go away, and then you took them away. What happened? Did you just get spooked by the markets?
The 90-day pause on the reciprocal tariffs, is that because of the whiplash that we've been seeing across the financial markets?
No, this was his strategy all along.
An absolutely brilliant move.
Brilliant, not only economically, politically, and it was good for the American worker.
He's negotiator in chief. He's landing the plane. It's the master of the deal.
I mean, you're watching the art of the deal in real time here.
Many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal.
Yes, the art of the deal. Create a global crisis and then dig yourself halfway out. It's truly masterful, Donald. I'm starting to think that the art of the deal is art in the way that Jackson Pollock is art. Like, it looks like someone just threw a bunch of shit at the wall, but now I have to pretend like it's genius and it's gonna cost millions of dollars. Come at me, abstract expressionism hive. You know I'm right. Come on, Trump, just admit that you started a game of chicken and you got too scared to finish it.
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid.
Oh. Okay, it's our fault. We got too scared. Sorry. I tend to get a little yippy when my retirement plan starts to look like the elevator from The Shining. Straight down in heavy flow. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be dramatic, but this is the worst tariff day ever. This whole trade war was launched on incoherent arguments. You stuck to your guns for incoherent reasons, and now you're pulling back for incoherent reasons. Is there anything you can say that actually makes sense?
No other president would have done what I did. No other president.
Well, you got me there. Donald Trump had a rough week. His beautiful economy crashed because some dum-dum came and tariffed every country on the planet. He tried to save it yesterday, but the markets are still crashing today because, again, some absolute moron keeps ramping up a trade war against China. But in moments like this, there's one thing a serious leader does. Gather up all your closest friends on your payroll and make them say nice things about you.
Thank you for your leadership, and thank you for everything you're doing.
Your leadership at the border, absolutely remarkable.
I want to thank you as well for the shipbuilding.
I want to thank you for standing up to the Chinese Communist Party.
What you're doing now, I think, is a great service to our country, but ultimately to the world.
You were overwhelmingly elected by the biggest majority. The U.S. Americans want you to be president.
Your vision is a turning point and an inflection point in American history.
Oh. Wow, what do you even say to that?
I'm gonna come.
No, stop it! Stop it! Not that. But let's be fair, serving in Trump's cabinet isn't just photo ops at the White House. They also do photo ops out in the field. Although with Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem, this was less like a photo op and more like a photo, whoa, 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 watch where you point that thing.
Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem is taking heat today for her latest viral video.
Here we are with Marco and Brian today.
She's posing with two federal agents pointing a gun right at the agent's head.
Wow, give it up for Friendly Fire Barbie, everyone. To be fair, this is Kristi Noem, and these agents were wearing dog tags. You know, I'm starting to wonder if maybe she actually shot her dog by accident while taking a family photo. Fido! Fido, get in here! Oh, never mind. Just people. So Trump's cabinet has been very active. At today's meeting, Tulsi Gabbard said she's going to stop election rigging. Pam Bondi said she'll seek a 20-year prison term for someone who vandalized a Tesla. And RFK Jr. announced that he'll get fluoride out of the water. So congrats in advance to your dentist on his new Bentley. But don't worry, they're leaving the big issues to the president himself.
The Biden administration launched what you've called a war on showers.
Ah, yes. Yes, the war on showers, a fight Steve Bannon has been on the front lines of his whole life. Now, most people probably didn't even realize we were in a war on showers because no one in the Biden administration ever accidentally added a reporter to the War on Showers group chat. But in all seriousness, I know the war on showers very well, okay? My uncle actually lost his leg from stepping on a bath bomb. It's never been the same. But luckily, that war is now coming to an end.
Certain regulations that basically killed the water pressure of showers and other other water appliances. With this executive order, we're effectively going to be reversing that set of regulations.
In my case, I like to take a nice shower to take care of my beautiful hair. I have to stand under the shower for 15 minutes till it gets wet. It comes out drip, drip, drip. It's ridiculous.
It takes 15 minutes for your hair to get wet? Are you sure you're not standing in the pantry? The water pressure is terrible in here, and we're out of Cheez-Its. But if you're as big of a Trump head as I am, you know that water pressure is not a new issue for him. He's been passionate about this crisis for a while.
Take a shower and water comes dripping out. Just dripping out, very quietly dripping out.
Sinks, right? Showers.
You take a shower, the water doesn't come out.
It's the shower, it's the sink, and you know the third element in the bathroom. People have to flush their toilet 15 times. 10 times, right? 10 times. Wow.
Turn on the shower. Ding, ding. It goes drip, 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 drip.
Please, come out the water. Come on, water. Come out, baby.
Oh, come out, baby, please. Come out for daddy. Has he ever said anything more embarrassing?
I'm gonna come.
Stop doing that! Stop it! But guys, we did it. We found the one issue Donald Trump has stayed consistent on. It is literally the dumbest issue ever, but we'll take it. But this is still a major announcement, which is why Fox News deployed its most sophisticated journalism technique, talking to old people at a diner.
Your thoughts about your chance of having water pressure strong again in the shower?
That's just fine with me. I think you should. I think it ought to blow the skin off of it if you want it that way.
We don't want to blow the skin off. The epidermis is quite vital.
All right, hold on, Kill Me. Don't act like that guy is the weird one. You're the one walking around a diner going, tell me what you do in the shower. By the way, why are you talking to the men in here? You got to talk to these ladies. That's a group of ladies excited about a stronger shower head, am I right? Yeah, they get it. They get it. Still, I'm not sure the majority of Americans want their skin blown off. Anyone else want to chime in about water pressure?
So tell me about what you picture now that water pressure will be great again.
I have to stand there for 2 or 3 minutes for the water to even get warm.
Yeah, that's a different thing. This is not just an open forum for general shower complaints. The water's too cold, and I don't like how it tastes. It should taste like Hawaiian punch. Is there anyone in this diner Brian Kilmeade can have a normal interaction with?
How old are you?
I'm 12.
Do you even remember the way it used to be in 2008 before Barack Obama came in?
No.
Kilmeade, dude, he just told you he was 12. Do you even know what year it is? Excuse me, little boy, where were you for the moon landing? The kid was born in 2012. He doesn't remember Obama as president. He's probably like, Obama, is that the guy who puts out the Spotify playlist?
It is Trump's world, and we're just cowering in it. Over just the past few days, Donald Trump deported hundreds of Venezuelans to El Salvador, despite a judge's order, extraordinarily renditioned a pro-Palestinian Columbia student with a green card, declared that CNN and MSNBC should be illegal. By the way, I'm not against everything he does. No. But perhaps most impressively,
yesterday, the president played in a golf tournament at Trump International Golf Club in Palm Beach County. He later took to social media to announce his championship win, calling the victory a, quote, great honor.
Oh! He won. the tournament at Trump International. How did that happen? This dude's whole life, he's like the Make-A-Wish Batman kid. Hey, look at that, Donald. You caught all the criminals. Look, I'm opposed to anyone rolling back American democracy, but I do tip the cap to any 78-year-old winning a golf tournament. And by the way, still having enough energy left to stroll into the command center in his golf attire to bomb the shit out of Yemen. Yeah. Now look, anyone can bomb the shit out of Yemen after 9 holes, but 18? By the way, when he did that shift at McDonald's, did they just let him keep the headset? Is that? While they're bombing the shit out of Yemen, he's like, hold on, I got fries at the drive-thru window, hold on. By the way, by bombing Yemen, Donald Trump continued a presidential tradition dating back decades. It may have been what the Wright brothers invented the plane for. How much better do we have to make this for it to be able to reach and bomb the shit out of Yemen? But fear not, because Democrats put on the back foot, finally have an opportunity to stand up and show their dispirited party they still have the principle and the backbone to face down this wannabe tyrant.
Republicans need at least 8 Senate Democrats to reach the 60 required votes, or the government's going to shut down at midnight tomorrow night.
Oh, it is on like Donkey Kong. It turns out the Byzantine Senate rules have presented a golden opportunity to the minority party. Because the budget the Republicans are proposing is a non-starter.
This is a terrible CR.
A bill that is designed to hurt the American people.
It would cut by nearly 50% funding for medical research.
To take away nursing home care from millions of our seniors.
There's more than $1 billion of cuts to veteran benefits.
I'm voting no.
I will be a hard no.
Vote no. Hell no.
I am even more hell no.
Can you be more hell no? Is that like, hell no? H-E double hockey stick? By the way, like, who's this dude for? You know that salty language isn't you, Merkley. Dollar in the swear jar. It's H-E double hockey sticks from now on. But this abomination of a budget shall not pass. Because, Senator Schumer, please remind the people what is necessary.
Republicans do not have the votes in the Senate.
You don't have the votes. You need congressional approval because you don't have the votes. Because the filibuster requires... I only saw the play. You see, Republicans, your little evil budget plan might have worked if you hadn't forgotten that one Senator Schumer is Charles in charge of the Democratic Party. I'm afraid your diabolical scheme has been foiled.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer set off a firestorm heading into this weekend when he changed course and announced he would vote to move forward on a Republican-backed funding bill.
Turns out you had the votes. Republicans had the votes. What the happened?
I will vote to keep the government open. I believe it is my job to make the best choice for the country, to minimize the harms to the American people.
But you had said it was terrible. And oh, wait a minute. Oh shit, I know what's going on here. All right, I know what's going on here. All right. Yeah. You had me going, Chucky. You probably got a little something out of this, didn't you, old C-shoe? You wouldn't have given up that powerful leverage on the budget for nothing. My guess is Chucky got some cheese.
Did Schumer get anything from Republicans in exchange for those Dem votes?
He did not.
Senator Schumer, no disrespect, but you are a disgrace to Jewish stereotypes about financial negotiations. That's just... I thought the whole point of us is that's what we do. But you're out there, how much is it? $5. How about I give you 7? Like, what are you doing? And for those of you who may have felt like this was a total capitulation, Senator Schumer just felt like this wasn't the moment for Democrats to press their case because Trump is still too strong.
When he went below 40% in the polls, the Republican legislators started working with us. He was at 51. He's now at 48. We're going to keep at it, keep at it, keep at it until he goes below 40. When it happens, I am hopeful that our Republican colleagues will resume working with us.
You're going to keep at it, keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. At what? This was it. This was the it that you would have been keeping at. The keeping of the it. It's not the keeping of the it. That's the issue. It's what the it. Don't you have to start it to keep at it? If this wasn't it, then what it? What is it if this not be it? But apparently the grand plan is Dems keep fecklessly complaining until the 48 approval comes down to 40, which is a plan, but it's forgetting one crucial piece of information in Schumer's popularity calculation.
Devastating, cascading poll numbers for Democrats. Only 27% of voters have a positive view of the party, the lowest favorability rating in the history of NBC's polling.
You're at 27%. You've got to get Trump to lose 8 points of popularity just for you to get to the point where you're 13 points below him. Your approval is only 7 points above, where it turns red and goes into low power mode. Maybe you're not a numbers learner. Maybe a visual demonstration of where you are here. Let me meet you where you live. All right, here we go. This is not. I'm going to do this. This is 48% approval. This is them. This is you. This is you. 27%. This is them. Oh, I see. They're much higher. Yes, they're much higher. And if you keep this up, you'll be wearing these on your dick. Do you understand? Perhaps I'm being too hard on this. Oh, I am not. Perhaps he has insider knowledge of a quiet, smoldering Republican amenability to compromise. Perhaps underneath that hard shell of Republican intransigence is a soft, nougaty center of responsible legislative leadership waiting to be freed. Bargains! Driven in the hallowed yet marbled halls of power. Or maybe someplace mustier.
I talked to them. One of the places I told them to go in the gym, you know, when you're on that bike in your shorts, panting away next to a Republican. A lot of the inhibitions come off.
That's your plan. I'm gonna dangle my balls out of my shorts and later at the gym. Oh, you know, they're going to lose all their inhibitions on the equipment. You know, actually, Chuck, I would like to work with you on Medicaid reform. And also, I never told anybody this, but I once jerked a guy off in a park. Oh, this elliptical, I just lose my inhibitions. And you know, I would probably be just a skosh more receptive to Schumer's theory of gym-based negotiation strategies if it had worked the last time
We talk to our Republican colleagues all the time. I talk to them all in the gym. When you're a 60-year-old on a bike panting in your shorts, the inhibitions sort of fall away.
You know, I'm not here to posture shame. But for a guy who seems to be spending most of his life in the gym, a little less talky talk, a little more core. Second of all, in the gym, they're only being agreeable with you because they want you to leave them alone. In the gym, on the stationary bike. Oh, sure, Chuck, yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. But I have to tell you something. Pedaling really hard and not going anywhere, it's a great metaphor for the Democratic Party right now. Also, ball strike. But for some reason, there is a persistent fiction within the Democratic Party that if they just hang out with Republicans in the gym or wait out Trump's popularity or give them concessions on a continuing resolution they said would harm the country, that Republicans will finally see the light. The Democrats will be rewarded with productive bipartisanship, or, as they put it,
This fever will break. All this excitement about Donald Trump, it's going to break.
So it is like a cult. The fever will break.
Is this the night the fever will break?
A chance to break the fever.
I believe at some point soon, the fever will break.
I think you're going to see the fever break.
President Obama saying, quote, "Now I believe when we're successful in this election that the fever may break."
if someone's been running a fever since the aughts, that's not a fever. That is their default resting temperature. This fiction that you are inventing, this idea that somehow, they'll come to their senses, it allows Democrats to keep thinking that Republicans are actually the ones in the precarious position.
They've got a very narrow margin in the House, a bit bigger margin in the Senate, and their goals are internally conflicting.
They don't have the numbers.
Republicans need Democratic votes. It's going to be clear they can't pass anything without Democratic help.
Congress won't be able to keep the lights on, let alone pass anything of substance, without the buy-in and blessing of House Democrats and Hakeem Jeffries.
It's a great message, except Republicans have gotten everything through. Every crazy appointment. The guy who wrote the children's book on Russiagate runs the FBI. Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, Weekend Fox and Friends guy. They all sailed through. Literally, the only one that has failed so far is picking a Chucky doll that runs on cocaine and Viagra for Attorney General. And that's just because the Republicans personally hated him. Probably for something he did at the gym. Look, you don't understand. These Republicans are committed to a plan born of ideological 50 to 60-year project to remake the United States, and classifying it as a fever excuses you from having to propose an alternative, coherent vision and allows you to pretend that this is just an issue of messaging and not merit. Boy, are Dems busy fixing the messaging. Ambitious Democrats have a new game plan. They're going to yak it up about sports and go on more podcasts, or whatever the hell this is.
Hi, I'm Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs. Get ready with me while I explain to you how House Republicans are trying to give away your health care to give tax breaks to big corporations. Last week, Republicans introduced their budget resolution.
I'm sorry. I'm having difficulty focusing on what you're saying because I'm terrified that you're a hard yellow light away from getting ready with Dan Crenshaw. Obviously, that is not meant in any way to diminish Congressman Crenshaw's service, how he was wounded in Afghanistan, making a Get Ready With Me video.
Now
one of Trump's big promises for his second term was deporting violent immigrants from America, and he often mentioned one violent gang in particular.
Tren de Aragua. Remove the savage gang, Tren de Aragua. Tren de Aragua. Tren de Aragua.
Tren de Aragua. You know, the members of that gang are like, is that us he's talking about? Trump sounds like my grandfather ordering Chipotle. I'll take the Barbara Ochoa! Buenos nachos! And over the weekend, Trump announced he was deporting hundreds of these suspected Venezuelan gang members all the way back to El Salvador. So, close enough. And of course, these suspected gang members would be afforded a rigorous legal procedure, including a trial, the presentation of evidence, and all the rights of due process. I'm just with you. He did a Trump.
The administration invoking an obscure law, the Aliens Enemies Act of 1798, which allows the government to deport people with little to no due process, and was last used to round up Japanese Americans during World War II.
Last used to round up Japanese Americans during World War II. Why does Trump always have to pick the oldest, most racist laws to do what he wants to do? Like cutting taxes under the authority of the It's Okay to Drown Italians law of 1863. It's not just that it's archaic. Invoking that law has some big problems. One is that if you're deporting gang members, but there's no due process, then you don't really know if you're deporting gang members. You're just deporting people who you think look like gang members. And if you start deporting every shady-looking guy with questionable tattoos, I mean, who's gonna go to Jets games? But you know what? I'm sure Donald Trump has the cultural understanding to carefully discern who is a member of, what's that gang name again?
Tren de Aragua.
Yeah, you guys are there's another problem with invoking this law, which is it's supposed to be used in wartime. So to make this work, Trump had to pretend that we're at war with Venezuela, which we're not. Not to mention, a pretend war is an extremely complicated concept to throw at the Secretary of Defense on St. Patrick's Day. So, man. Okay, so bottom line here. Okay, there's a lot of legal questions up in the air. So on Saturday, a federal judge decided to pump the brakes.
That federal judge, in an emergency hearing Saturday, ordered any plane containing these folks that is going to take off or is in the air needs to be returned to the United States, adding this is something that you need to make sure is complied with immediately.
Oh, well, it was a good try, Donald, but the judge has ruled, and that's the way the system works. So, Trump brought the Venezuelans back, gave them due process, did the whole Constitution thing. I'm with you again. He ignored the judge.
The administration made a calculated decision to ignore a federal judge's directive to turn the flights around.
My God. I mean, if you had told me that Donald Trump would trigger a constitutional crisis just 7 weeks into his term, I would have said, that is a lot later than I thought. I mean, Donald showed a lot of restraint. I mean, Trump's really becoming presidential. Of course, the administration didn't just come out and say, we don't listen to judges from now on. They had the respect for the judicial branch to come up with some bullshit.
The White House argued that Boasberg's written order was issued when the planes were already mid-air, and that his verbal order, some 40 minutes earlier, did not count.
It didn't count? Is that how rulings work? You have to put it in writing, you can't just say it? Well, this is definitely not the first time that Trump has defended himself by arguing that oral doesn't count. Look it up. Look it up. Look, the judge wasn't terribly impressed with that argument, so Trump's lawyers went with another response, which was, can't catch me, force field.
The Trump administration argued that the court no longer had jurisdiction once the planes were over international waters.
Yes, okay, apparently the Constitution is not in effect over international waters. That explains Carnival Cruise Line's new ship, the SS Cruel and Unusual Punishment. And while the Trump administration is saying that it has the right to ignore judicial orders, President Trump himself is somehow going even further.
President Donald Trump just took to Truth Social and deemed this judge, responding to this decision here, calling him a radical left lunatic of a judge, a troublemaker and agitator who was sadly appointed by Barack Hussein Obama. He says this judge should be impeached.
So there you have it. Donald Trump went from, oh, sorry, we would have listened to this judge if we had heard it in time, to actually, this lunatic judge should be impeached. And if you would have told me that all happened in 48 hours, I would have said, wow, again, longer than I expected. Now, some of you might be thinking, Jordan, enough about this constitutional crisis. I want to hear about another constitutional crisis. Well, you're in luck.
Last night, the president posted on social media, said, quote, "The pardons that sleepy Joe Biden gave to the unselect committee of political thugs and many others are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect because of the fact that they were done by auto-pen."
He's voiding Joe Biden's pardons. It's not enough that he's fighting the judicial branch in the present. He's also fighting the executive branch in the past. He's causing more problems in the multiverse than Jonathan Majors. But yes, I guess Donald Trump just found out about auto pens, which leads us to one of the most annoying events in a Trump presidency. Donald learns about something new, so we all have to learn about it too.
Presidents Biden and Obama both used an auto pen device to sign official documents, a practice that is legally binding.
The actual use of the auto pen dates back to Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson? I mean, I guess that makes sense. When you have that many secret kids, that's a lot of birthday cards you gotta sign. Busy man. Now, to be fair to Trump, he's not just saying Joe Biden used an auto pen. It's something far more sinister. A conspiracy so evil that Trump took time out of his busy schedule waiting for the airplane bathroom to discuss.
The whole subject of auto pen, did he know what he was doing? Did he authorize it? Or is this somebody in an office, maybe a radical left lunatic, just signing whatever that person wants?
Yes. Good question. Did Joe Biden really sign the pardons that he said several times he signed? Or did a radical left lunatic sneak into the Oval Office and start signing whatever was in the room? Pardons, laws, doctor's notes, yearbooks. I mean, did Joe Biden really want Cindy to have a great summer, or was it the deep state? You know, my favorite part of this whole story is how Trump tried to claim that he would never use an auto pen, only to remember that he actually did use an auto pen.
I never use it. I mean, we may use it as an example to send some young person a letter, because it's nice, you know, we get thousands and thousands of letters, and letters of support for young people, for people that aren't feeling well, etc.
Yeah, if I'm doing important things like pardoning January 6ers, I'll sign it myself. But for doing stupid shit like writing letters to sick kids, DocuSign is fine. Speaking of a once-in-a-generation charming sex machine, Elon Musk. Now, oh baby, I love it. I love it. Now, he's the world's richest man, the leader of Doge, and guy who thinks Sauron is the hero of the story. And say what you want about Elon, but he certainly has his fans.
I love Tesla.
I'm not saying Donald Trump is racist, but that man does love a hard R. But if you step outside of the White House, you'll find a backlash brewing against the founder of Tesla.
Lawmakers across the country facing anger and outrage from their constituents at town hall meetings, and the primary source of the blowback is Elon Musk.
What are you doing to stop the activities of unelected and unconfirmed Elon Musk?
Elon Musk does have a security clearance. We need to find out what Elon Musk is doing and how we can stop him.
Elon Musk has conflicts of interest out the wazoo.
I support Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency.
Tough crowd. You know you're in trouble when you even pissed off the kid with the cherry 8-ball sweater. It's like the chillest sweater there is. These crowds have been so angry towards these congressmen, some of them have decided to stop holding town halls altogether, which feels a little thin-skinned, considering this is basically the same kind of vitriol that Applebee's bartender gets when the white wine's not filled to the brim. Again, Kyle, I'm sorry I flew off the handle. Papa needs his Pinot Grigio. And some people are not content to just scream about Elon in a high school gym. They're taking to the streets or the parking lots.
Tonight, the FBI and ATF now investigating multiple cases of possible arson targeting Teslas and Cybertrucks.
This dramatic video shows multiple cars in flames. Police say the attacker used Molotov cocktails. It's the latest in more than a dozen instances of arson and vandalism targeting Tesla.
The same suspect shot more Teslas with a gun. Tesla Cybertrucks were set on fire in Kansas City, and earlier this month, shots fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Cybertrucks on fire in Seattle.
Wow, you guys like petty acts of domestic terrorism, huh? Cool. Wow. Okay, let me just say, nobody should be breaking the law and blowing up Teslas. Especially because if you just wait a few minutes, they'll probably do it by themselves. And in case you're wondering why people might do this, some have been leaving helpful messages.
This is what Tesla employees in Encinitas saw when they arrived to work today. The vandalism is too graphic to show in its entirety. We blurred out the swastika on this white Tesla, as well as the F word on 2 different windows in front of the dealership. Nazi and scum were written as well.
I think you might have wanted to blur out a little more there, because now it just looks like they just wrote. I mean, obviously Elon has a lot of kids, so he's got a lot of, but you don't have to be so overt. The point is, there's a ton of rage directed at Elon right now, which is why last night he went on Sean Hannity and made the case for his victim.
Bullets are being fired, charging stations are put ablaze, Teslas are being put ablaze. What have you done that warrants this? Because I see nothing that you have done except help our country.
Yeah, I mean, it's really come as quite a shock to me that there's this level of really hatred and violence from the left. Tesla is a peaceful company. We've never done anything harmful. I've never done anything harmful. I've only done productive things.
I shouldn't have to explain this to Elon, but it's not about the Teslas. Teslas are actually pretty cool as a car. It's got that all-glass thing going on, kind of like a Pope-mobile that f***s. It's got door handles that are hard to find, which is what everybody wants in a door handle. Everything in the car is electronic, so if it malfunctions, you just drown in it, It's like a free coffin. It's cool. It's cool. I give them credit. I don't think people, though, are mad at you because of the Teslas, Elon. If I were to hazard a guess about why they'd be mad, it might be because in the last several weeks, you fired tens of thousands of federal workers, you made cuts to veterans care, life-saving foreign aid, and food banks, you canceled important medical research, sometimes so abruptly that this happened.
Clinical trials funded by USAID, medical experiments have been stopped midstream. Some people have medical devices still in their bodies because the trials were abruptly stopped.
Yeah, people might get a little upset if you stop their medical trial halfway through them. Imagine you had to stop getting your malaria medication or going home with half a butt lift. Imagine it! Imagine it! You'll never buy pants off the rack again. Or here's another guess. Maybe people are mad at you because you don't seem to know what the f*** you're doing. I'm guessing. Because you fired aviation safety staff, then you had to hire them back. You fired nuclear safety inspectors, then you had to hire them back. You cut funding for Ebola prevention and then said, oopsie.
One of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola and Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention.
Yeah, I think we do. And if someone just accidentally cut it, I think we'd all be pretty mad. I might even Banksy some Third Reich ejaculates. Look, I could come up with more reasons, but let's be honest. Elon knows why people are mad at him. We know he's not as smart as he pretends to be, but he's also not as dumb as he's pretending to be right now. And when he goes on Sean Hannity to complain about why people hate him, he's just proving that the troll king of the internet can't handle the consequences of the real world. But you know what? You know what, Elon? You know what? No. Here, Elon, if you genuinely want people to not hate you, you could focus on the things you are good at. I mean, you did get those astronauts back. It was a beautiful moment.
The astronaut pair who faced a prolonged stay in space, 9 months versus a planned 1 week, are back on Earth tonight.
It was a team effort between the Trump administration, Elon Musk, and SpaceX.
And how about this welcoming committee? Like we just mentioned, a pod of dolphins seen swimming around as the astronauts waited to be escorted out of the SpaceX Dragon capsule.
You know what? I think that's great. Look, I have to not be a hater for a second, okay? Elon brought them back safely from space after being stranded there for months, and dolphins even showed up to say hi. That is incredible. I mean, I wish the Dolphins hadn't welcomed them back with a Sieg Heil, but still. Donald Trump made lots of promises during the presidential campaign, and he emphasized one thing in particular.
Starting on day one, we will bring competence and common sense back to the Oval Office. Restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government.
Kamala says vote for her, and you're voting for joy. What's the one-word counterpart?
Competence.
Competence.
Well, but real competence, real competence, not just he's sort of a competent, but no, real competence.
Yes. The more you say that something is real, the more people believe you. My real girlfriend lives in real Canada. She's just not just sort of my girlfriend, she's my real girlfriend. She's real, and I touched her real boobies. By the way, what room is that? I feel like the Beast must have Belle trapped in the room next door, right? But yes, Trump promised his presidency would be marked by competence. And now that we're 2 months in, let's see how that's going.
Some serious security concerns over the newly released JFK files and real anger after Social Security numbers and other private information of more than 200 people were made public on Tuesday. The Washington Post report said among them are former congressional staffers and one of Donald Trump's most vocal defenders, his former campaign lawyer, Joseph DeGenova. He is furious, telling the Post it's absolutely outrageous, adding, it's like a first-grade elementary level rule of security to redact things like that.
Whoa, man. Looks like 304-556-622 is really upset about that leak. Man, Social Security numbers, addresses, full names. The only thing that wasn't in the JFK papers was who killed JFK. And Trump's poor lawyer. He's probably like, oh man, I never would have represented you in your 2020 election fraud case if I knew you'd be untrustworthy. But we can't be surprised. Everything Trump has done so far has been sloppy. Whether it's DOJ not knowing who they're firing, ICE not knowing who they're deporting. Turns out they can't even do a classic DEI purge right.
Tonight, the Pentagon sparking outrage after removing from its website a story celebrating the Army record of American icon Jackie Robinson.
A senior military official tells us tonight that the Pentagon relies on computer software to scrub DEI content from its websites, and that ultimately those stories about Jackie Robinson were removed by mistake.
Yeah. Oh, don't blame us. Blame our racist software. We should have never used Chat KKK. Classic mistake. Be careful where it is. The Jackie Robinson mistake wasn't even the most embarrassing anti-DEI flaw.
In some cases, photos seem to be flagged for removal simply because their file included the word gay, including service members with that last name and an image of the B-29 aircraft Enola Gay, which dropped the first atomic bomb on Hiroshima.
That's how lazy they were with this. They just Control-F'd for gay-sounding keywords and deleted anything that showed up. Now, kids won't know about the Enola Gay, they won't know about transport planes, and they'll never hear about the heroic service of Captain Grinder McScissory. Tragic. What's extra tragic is this could have all been avoided if they had just named the plane Enola Gay No Homo, you know? But maybe getting things right isn't this administration's top priority. They have a crisis on their hands. Tesla stock is in the toilet. And they can't let that happen. Crisis! They can't let that happen because Elon Musk is a key member of the Trump administration. And more importantly, Republican Party sugar daddy. So, last night they sent Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick to Fox News to make a pitch.
I think if you want to learn something on this show tonight, buy Tesla. It's unbelievable that this guy's stock is this cheap. It'll never be this cheap again. When people understand the things he's building, the robots he's building, the technology he's building, people are going to be dreaming of today and Jesse Waters and thinking, gosh, I should have bought Elon Musk's stock. I mean, who wouldn't invest in Elon Musk? You got to be kidding me.
Whoa! This is gross, a bit gross. You know, cabinet members should not be shilling for companies. And that includes those Henry Kissinger Hims.com ads. But to be fair, he wasn't just out there shilling Tesla stocks. The Commerce Secretary was pushing Elon products that hadn't hit the market yet.
Go online and look up Optimus. It is the coolest thing you've ever seen. We're all going to be buying robots. They're going to cost about $30,000. You're going to be buying a Tesla robot, and anybody who doesn't buy a Tesla robot is going to be silly.
Yeah! You hear that? People who don't buy a $30,000 robot that isn't on the market yet and will probably strangle you in your sleep? You're gonna look silly. These poor everyday Fox viewers must be so confused. They came here for the xenophobia and pretty ladies, and now they have to mortgage their house to buy a robot with a thigh gap. It's so embarrassing that this guy is using his position on TV to sell shit to the American people. Why are you so hungry for Musk's approval when you should be hungry for a Taco Bell build-your-own craving box? A Chalupa Supreme, a burrito, a side, and a drink for under $7. It's called integrity. And it's how you live Moss. Integrity. You know, it's not just the Trump administration. The whole team over at Fox News is doing their part.
I own a Tesla. It's amazing. I ordered my Tesla today.
I told my wife, hey, I think we should buy a Tesla.
So you're going out to buy one?
Go get a Tesla.
I'm going to buy a Tesla today, by the way.
Okay.
I'm buying a Tesla today.
Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Oh, man. Pretty soon, even Fox is going to stop saying Merry Christmas and replace it with Happy Tesla December to Remember sales event.
If you remember, the last time that we spoke, it was midnight on election night. And it seemed even at that moment very clear Donald Trump had won the election in a bit of a thumpening. Now, part of the disorientation of the Democrats losing the electoral vote and the popular vote and losing ground in the cities and the areas around the cities and the areas around those areas, I guess you'd call it America, was that we had all been told by many of our best prognosticators it was going to be close. We ran the results in the computer 100,000 times. She won 50,001. He won 40,099, 99. But in this coin flip country, I was confident because the Democrats had a secret weapon in a close election, perhaps the most important weapon.
Since joining the race, the vice president has raised an eye-boggling $1 billion.
Call me eyes boggled. See, the Democrats in a 50-50 election had $1 billion. A war chest to be spent on data analytics and polling and consultants and very clearly texting. There was a lot of texting. A lot of that money went to, how the did they just text me, I'm in the tub?